What's going on, YouTube? This is Boxingwave. I hope everyone is having a good day. Please, again, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. Also, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up. This fight here between Murat Gassiev and Otto Wallin is coming up this Saturday. And as far as right now, I don't know if the fight is gonna be broadcasted. All right, so if I find a way to get access to the fight, I will go live for it. But right now, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be televised anywhere. If I have to get a link to it, maybe if I get a good link to it, maybe I'll go live for it. But its fight is going down this Saturday. But I will be covering the Zone card and the Showtime pay-per-view as well. So I'll definitely be here for that. So make sure you tune in. All right, so this fight is an important fight for these two fighters. You got Murat Gassiev, Otto Wallin. Gassiev, 30 wins, 23 knockouts, only one loss to Alexander Usyk. That was in the World Boxing Super Series final. The first one at Cruiserweight years back, which was probably classic tournament. All top cruiserweights in that division. You know what I mean? And it was a great tournament. All right, but Usyk beat Gassiev in the finals, and Gassiev took a couple years off after that loss. I think he was plagued with injuries, and then he eventually moved up to heavyweight, and I think his last 3 or 4 fights has been up there. But he has not been fighting top tier opponents at heavyweight. He's been blitzing them, knocking them all out easily, but they're not no names that we recognize. Guys that. Let me pull up his thing real quick. I was watching his last fight against Mike Balogan, and Mike was undefeated. He's a southpaw. Gassiev just knocked him out with one punch in the second round, without really being active. Didn't throw that many punches in that fight at all. And the other guys, Safari, all these other guys, Welch, I wasn't familiar with any of these names, but he's knocked them out. 2 of them in the first round, 1 of them in the second round, 1 of them in the 4th round. You know what I mean? He's going to tear guys out like this up. You know what I mean? But he's only been fighting like once a year, so he's not super active. But he is young. He's 29 years old, and he has a height disadvantage to Wallin. He's a couple inches shorter than Wallin, and the reach is a couple inches shorter as well. All right. But then you got Otto Wallin. He's 25-1, 1 defeat to Tyson Fury. That's pretty much the how we know him. Because I didn't know who he was before the Tyson Fury fight. And when I found out Fury was fighting him, I immediately looked him up, watched some of his fights on YouTube. And taller guy, like I said, southpaw, and pretty good boxer. Gassiev is the puncher between the two. He has 23 knockouts, while he only has 14 knockouts on his 25. But it seemed like I guess when he stepped up in opposition, he hasn't really been scoring knockouts like that. You know what I mean? So we got a puncher against boxer here. And it's been a tough. It's been tough for me trying to decide who's gonna win this fight. I've been back and forth a few times here, because I don't know. Let's get into the breakdown. We might as well talk about it. Wallin is being that he's a southpaw, and there's some similarities there to Usyk, but he's not quite as good as Usyk, not nearly as athletic, not nearly, he's not good as a mover. I don't even know if he has the power of Usyk, even though Usyk is a smaller cruiserweight here. But we're looking to see how Wallin can capitalize on some of the things Usyk did in order to win that fight against Gassiev. And in some areas, and I do think for the amount of time that the fight is going on, I do think that Wallin is going to be winning the fight as far as rounds. You know what I mean? Higher volume, more punch output. Gassiev is he's effective, but he's kind of basic. You know what he's coming with. Gassiev is a guy that's coming straight forward. He's fighting out of a high guard, and he is trying to land a straight right hand. Not many jabs are thrown, not many combinations are thrown. Doesn't set much up, but he's trying to counter and time you with the right hand. You know what I mean? And all you're really gonna get from him is the left hook, then the right hand, the left hook, then the right hand. You know, he's gonna try to throw the left hook around your guard and shoot the right hand behind it. But there's not much depth in his game. It's not, and that's why it was so easy for a guy like Usyk to beat him. But as far as the other fighters that he's beat, like he knocked out Dorticos in the last round of their fight, which is very close. I mean, every fight is pretty close with him. You know, the ones that go the distance. And you know, in that fight, Dorticos is just a 1-2 fight. He has power in his right hand, but you know, it's a jab right hand. It's 1-2 all over and over and over again. He doesn't have much depth. So I wasn't surprised that Gassiev was able to knock him out in their fight, because there's not much depth in a guy like Dorticos. He's a good fighter, but you know, a lot of these guys are basic, and not in a disrespectful way, but you know what they're gonna do. Gassiev, though, the pressure, will it be too much for Otto Wallin? Because Otto Wallin, he's gonna have to move, you know. And when we seen him fight like Dominic Brazil, he beat Dominic Brazil, but he gassed out dramatically in the later rounds. You know, Brazil definitely won the later rounds, and when Wallin slows down, it's a big difference in his game. You know, I've said this about Caleb Plant, who's a great defensive fighter. You know, Wallin is not as good defensively as him, but when he slows down, he moves less. He becomes an easier target. He's getting hit a lot more. You know what I mean? And I think that's the argument, and this is why I've been going back and forth here. Logically, for me, I see Gassiev winning by knockout. You know, I don't expect him to win on points unless he's scoring some knockdowns, which can make him get those extra points for those rounds. But I see him winning by knockout. I see him beating Otto Wallin somewhere after, you know, somewhere in between the ninth and the final round. You know, I think Wallin by that point is going to be slowed down dramatically. He'll be an easier target for Gassiev. But if Gassiev is not able to knock him out, I see Wallin winning a points decision. You know, again, he's not a KO artist. I'm expecting Wallin to try to just keep the distance, work behind his jab, move to his right, move away from the right hand. That's exactly what worked for Usyk. It was a lot of touching jabs. He was constantly touching Gassiev with his jab, and just touching his gloves with his jab, and landing jabs in between that, changing the pace of the jab, and constantly moving to his right to stay away from the right hand. Yes, there was times where Gassiev would throw the hook while Usyk was moving to his right, but Usyk kept his hands up, and you know, he's better at slipping punches, moving, shifting his body side to side. Much better than Otto Wallin. So Wallin would be easier to hit clean, but Wallin is a career heavyweight, and he's bigger than Usyk, you know. And Gassiev hasn't fought any good heavyweight, so even though he was very powerful as a cruiserweight, and I know he knocked out a couple guys at heavyweight, he hasn't fought anyone at this level, you know. Wallin went to distance with Brazil, who was a puncher, not that good of a boxer, but a good puncher. He went to distance with Tyson Fury. You know, after Fury had that fight, he pretty much changed everything. He changed his style into being a knockout artist. You know what I mean? Before, in that fight, Tyson Fury was a boxer, you know, moving a lot more, not sitting down in his punches as much. But in that fight there, you know, Wallin was able to take the punishment. He had success in the earlier half of the fight, but in the second half, once he slowed down, Tyson Fury started to pick him apart. Excuse me. But Wallin was able to take his power. So Wallin is to me is pretty durable as a heavyweight. And being that Gassiev hasn't fought any top tier heavyweights yet, you know, he might struggle knocking this guy out. Wallin might be, you know, pretty durable, and he might be able to take his power for 12 rounds. We just got to wait and see. By the way, this is for like a junior WBA title, you know, not the world heavyweight title, but like a intercontinental title or something like that. All right, so this is a really high ranked WBA fight here. So it's either to go with Gassiev by knockout in the later rounds, or Wallin by decision for me, clear decision. Like I said, I've been back and forth. As far as betting, I think I might go with Wallin with decision win, with Gassiev winning by knockout. I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna do 7-12 or maybe a 9-12 pick. But if I had to pick a winner, if I had to absolutely pick a winner, I can see Gassiev catching him late in the fight and possibly getting a stoppage, you know. And I switched my pick. Wallin was where I was going with originally, but I think Gassiev is gonna catch him late, you know. Going back and doing some film study, I think Wallin's gonna slow down. And it's gonna be a sitting duck at some point. All right, but if he could take his power, then he wins the fight. He wins it on the cards, I think. Because Gassiev is just too low output for me, you know? And he's relying on that one big punch. So he can be outboxed. And I expect Wallin to definitely be outboxing him and winning the fight by the end of the 6th round pretty clear. But I think after that, when he slows down and pressure gets to him, he's going to get caught with some bombs. And I think Gassiev is going to win. All right. There's also the possibility of Gassiev winning on points. It's a possibility there. You know, but I think he's going to win by stoppage if he does win. All right. Anyway, that is my prediction. Please subscribe to the channel again. And again, if I find a way to see the fight or find the fight somewhere online, I will go live. But I'll let you guys know. All right. Peace.